you want me to introduce myself first?
Yes, Maud, please do it. We are so happy that you're together with us today and that you're sharing your experience and you're living and working in Paris, which is our dream city for everybody here. Believe us. Please take the floor and tell us about your experience, how you feel there in Paris.
No, first I would like to thank you for this opportunity and for taking time to hear me today. It's an honor, really, and I'm very happy to be able to help everybody and to participate to this experience. I feel like it's always interesting to meet people, and it's also part of my job to do it and to advise. There's many ways you can be a buyer or you can work in this industry. The way I see it is really by sharing and meeting and connecting with people. So my name is Maud. I'm French, and I've been working in fashion for almost 10 years. I started my career in sales. And it's been more than two years that I've been doing this buying position. So my profile is both sales and buying, which is very complementary. And the way I can also give you advice is always between sales and buying, which helps because you always need some sales vision to be able to buy, and the opposite. So it's very complementary. I've been working with all the retailers in Europe when I was on sales, and now I'm on this side. So it's very interesting to have the whole vision. I've been working with brands like Marc Jacobs, Wang and Isabel Marant. And now I'm in Printemps, the department store that I'm sure you heard about. And it's very exciting. My position is basically to manage 2 buyers, and I'm responsible for the whole luxury and designer department for the ready-to-wear. And I'll also buy some accessories because, of course, when you have ready-to-wear, you always display with accessories to create full silhouette. So this is just my basic presentation.
Oh, incredible.
Great, thank you very much. You do it great, and I think more efficient than we can do it.
Okay,
so thank you very much.
So let me share my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Great, we can see you.
Okay, good.
Representation and you, of course.
Perfect. Okay. So so I just go through the presentation. It's fine with you, or is there another way you would like to do it?
Yes, please go through the presentation. Okay. And if we have questions, how do you like us to stop? Okay.
Okay. You can
and
stop.
Please, for all members of today's event, please write your messages via chat. Use chat Zoom, or you can ask us and we will stop.
Okay, and do you all receive the presentation before? Did you have time to quickly read it?
Not yet. The organizational team, we saw this presentation before. I think members didn't see it before, but we'll do it right now and we'll ask our questions and we'll discuss it because we have enough time.
Okay, good. Okay. So how does it work? Okay. So I already introduced myself. So here is a quick recap. So I don't think it's necessary to repeat. Then the first question was, what is the basic work with buyers, like our responsibilities, interests, like how we work. I like to present my work and my team's work too, like the buying work, as 2 different things. First one is like more creative, and the second one is more financial and performance. So I would say like the first part of our job is understanding brands and trends, and the second one is monitoring performance. So creativity and business, which is a very complementary job, and it makes it very interesting. The first point that I want to describe is understanding brands and trends. Like buyers always need to be aware of the market. It's very important. It's the same for you as a brand. You need to understand your market, which market you are in, and where you are projecting yourself. And we do the same for the global market. What is new? What is hot right now? What is selling? What are the new brands? What is the competition? Like we are always aware of the market and what is going on. We read the actuality. We see Instagram. We are always on it. Like it's really part of our job. We need to understand brands, trends, consumer habits, how it's changing the world, like how COVID is affecting the consumption, how like the actuality is affecting like luxury consumption in our country, but also in other countries, to understand how the tourists will come to Paris to buy, for example, this kind of things. So we are always thinking not only what I'm going to buy, but what is going on in the world, and especially what is affecting the fashion world and the consumption. So this is the first point. So it's key, like, to be always like on top of it and visiting stores, traveling. Our objective is to understand the environment and position ourselves, the store, among the competition, to understand like if we are on top of it or if we are behind and we're missing maybe some brands, we're missing maybe a vision, a message on sustainability, on like something. And it's important to have a clear vision of where you are and not being blinded and thinking that we are always the best. It's important at a store, but it's also important for you as a brand to know your market and your like what is good for you and what is to improve and to add. So then we visit the brands in showroom after all the fashion shows, and it gives us the opportunity to see the clothes, touch the fabric, understand the silhouette, and picture the brand in a display. It's true that when we enter in a showroom, first we see, then we want to touch, we want to understand like the materials, then we usually understand like the silhouette, what is the look you're introducing, how it goes the top with the bottom, and how you make it work. And then we can picture ourselves in a display and thinking, we always think about rails, like we always picture a rail and see like how we can make the color works, and then we can go deeper on this later. It's also the moment to connect with people. This is like my personal vision of it, to create a social bond with sales or with designer when we have the chance to meet one of them or both. And it's also, and even if the first meeting is not always concluding on a transaction, it can just open a window for us to follow the brand and to come back. And maybe like after a few seasons, when we see the evolution of the brand, we can decide if you're ready or not for us to be bought in the store. Once the buyer feels the connection is mature enough, it considers it's ready to be bought and incorporated in a concept. Because when we buy a brand, we don't just buy it because it's cool or because we like it. We buy it because we have maybe this multi-brand area and we feel that we're missing this message or this kind of brand or this origin or this or that. We just don't buy it because it's nice. We buy it because it has to fit in a concept. And it's also very difficult for you or for the salespeople to understand that, because you can think like, but I don't understand, our brand is nice, everybody is buying it, this buyer liked it, or I don't understand why she doesn't like it. It's just because we don't think just in terms of, is the brand good? We think in terms of, do I have the space? Do I have the money? And will it fit in our concept where it can go? And sometimes we love brands, but it doesn't fit anywhere. and it's very frustrating. Like, a part of our job is very exciting, but a part of our job is very, very frustrating because we always have to make choices. It is crucial to understand that buyers do not only buy clothes, but also a message, a vision to be part of the project, of a project. So that it's what I was saying, like sometimes the brand can be very interesting, but it does not fit anywhere in the store. And we sometimes buy brand that we don't like it, or we personally, or it can be complicated, but the message is so strong and the communication is so important that we feel it's also interesting to express it. So it's not only clothes, it's not only fabric, it's not only pricing, it's a global vision that we are buying. It's very important for us. You tell me if I'm too fast or if it's not clear.
I don't know. Let's ask members. For me, it's okay.
Yeah, for me too. Maybe.
No, everything is clear. Everything is clear and understandable. Thank you.
Thank you. So the second part of our job is monitoring performance. So in order for us to buy a brand, there's a lot of administrative work to be done. And then after, there's a lot of follow-up with the sales team in the brand side. So it's not only like buying, it's also a lot of things that we have to do. From negotiation to shipping, it can take a lot of time to come to an understanding, and that fits both the brand and the store. It's our job to negotiate with the salesperson to understand like what we can have and like how we will make the partnership works. Which criteria usually leads to the negotiation? It's the margin for us. We want to make profits, we want to make money. Buyers need to maintain a good margin. We are incentivized on that. And our offer need to be good in terms of margin to make profits. I think this is really the basic thing that you need to understand. It's really important for us, and we are challenged a lot by all our direction to make a good margin. Once the goods arrive in store, the new important indicator for us is the sell-through. So we will monitor the performance by looking at the sell-through. So my team is always looking every week all the brands sell-through. So the sell-through is the sales, so what we sold already in store, divided by what we've been ordered or received. Because, you know, at the beginning of the season, we start receiving some goods, but we did not receive everything. So we look at the sales versus what we received. And this gives us a percentage. And for example, and depending the time of the season, we know if the sellout is good or if it's not. For example, if you are at the beginning of the season at 20-30%, it's good. And then you need to be half of the season around like 40-50. And then you need to finish before sales, before the markdown, you need to finish around 60-70. And this is like the good growth of the brand through the season. But if a brand is still at 10% sell-through and it's the end of the season, it means that we did not sell many pieces and it's not selling. So this is a very important indicator for us to understand and monitor the performance. So we follow its evolution across the season, and we want at least to reach a 50% sell-through before sales, which is already good, especially when it's small brands that are new to the market. If the sell-through is bad on certain style, we usually ask for swaps to try other products, because maybe the products we believed in showroom is not satisfying the customer. We don't have the magic crystal ball. We don't know exactly what is going to sell. We make bets when we buy something. We think it's gonna sell, we base this on the performance, on what we think is selling. For example, I sell a lot of dresses in printemps, so I usually try to buy many dresses in the assortment because I know it's gonna sell. But sometimes you can be surprised because maybe this brand will sell better pants because the perception is better on pants, but you don't always know it when you start buying a brand. So we do not hesitate to make swaps during the season, and we ask also the brands to advise us, saying maybe in this store we saw that we're selling very well this jacket, so we recommend you to swap the dress against this jacket. And we try to listen to the advice of the salesperson to make this swap and to increase our performance and so our sell-through. Then after the sell-through, the buyers analyzes many criteria during the season and right before the markdown period to understand the performance outside the markdown sales. So we see the sizes, the colors, the price ranges, the product categories, and the fabrics. So we analyze everything that we bought in all the brands, and we understand, like, if for example, for the skirts, we are selling more 36 and 38, or if we're selling more 40 or 42, and then this per brand, per category, and per sizes will give us an indication for the coming buy to be able to buy more depth in the right sizes that we are selling the most. Same for the color. If we sell better in your brand, maybe we will sell better the black, and in your brand we will sell better the blue. So we need to understand which colors are interesting, and then even if we're not buying second season just based on these numbers, but we will for sure use them. If we see we never sell red in your brand, we will not buy red anymore the second season. Maybe we will try red in few season, but we will try to understand that red is not matching our customer in your brands, but maybe it's matching the brand next to you. So this is like what we do to understand the strengths and the weaknesses of all the brands for our customer, and to understand how we can make the next buy. And then, of course, we will then analyze the retail KPIs to understand the price points, like the average price point, the conversion rate, and all the retail KPIs that are given to us through the floor, because our teams on the floor are also analyzing their KPIs, and we understand also if there's like something going on, like if we're cross-selling well through the brand or not, if we need more accessories to understand, to make silhouette, and this kind of information.
We have first question, if we can.
Yes.
The first question from Julie, 711. Which category sells good? Dress is the best? Are dresses the best? Or can we ask it now or later on?
No, it's
overall.
Yeah, we can discuss now. It really depends the stores, I think, and it depends also the positioning of brands. For the luxury market, dresses are the category we sell the most, because many people are coming to buy ceremony dresses, and they're ready to invest a lot in a dress. So for the luxury market, dress are really a good seller, and you always need a dress. If you think about it, like in the summer, even if you're not like a dress person, you will always need a dress for a wedding, ceremony, also like for summer. And luxury or design dresses can be worn so many ways. You can wear it with heels, very chic and classy, but you also can wear it very bohemian with sandals. So dress can be very versatile, in the way you wear it. So it's true that it's usually the number one category, and then it's followed by the jacket. I feel that many women are coming to buy jackets because they need it for work, and they want to invest in a nice designer jacket, not just having, you know, the same jacket as everybody, to also make a difference in style. And when you have, maybe you're a lawyer, or you work in a bank, or you are a CEO, or this is the kind of clientele that we have, that have the money to come to buy some designer jacket. And they will need something creative, because they also they need to be very proper and very chic, and they cannot go crazy having, like, you know, like something too creative, but they will want to invest in a nice jacket that is well fitted, and they will feel also very powerful in this jacket. So I would say these are, for ready to wear, the two best categories that we're seeing.
Thank you very much. And one more question from Maria. Don't Look brand. What are the main digital platforms which you are using for research to understand what is fashion and what is popular? And this question is about your advice, what to use to understand what is popular, to understand the trends from previous ideas you gave us that you research trends.
Honestly, today Instagram is the number one platform we use to see the brands. On Instagram, we see all the influencers, we see what they're wearing, how it can target people, and then we look for the brand. We look at the brand's Instagram, how it's layout, how they communicate the message, stories, and what's behind it. So I would say that Instagram is our number one platform to find new brands and to understand them. And we very often contact them through Instagram. So my first recommendation is to have a perfect and clean communication and visual through Instagram. And then we also use the showroom, like when we go to see multi-brands showroom, there's always a salesperson that make us go through the whole showroom and seeing and walk through all the little brands. And it's the good way to spot a brand and say, okay, I like this, can you tell me more about it? And then we will also always do a background check on Instagram, seeing, like, if you have followers, what are you saying on your communication? So I would say, like, these are the two best ways for us to understand. And for the trends, the global trends, of course, we're seeing all the fashion shows. And if we're not invited, because of many reasons possible, we always check Vogue runway, and we see all the lookbooks, all the silhouettes, and we try to understand. Like, I used to take notes saying, like, but this season there is like blue and brown stripes, I don't know, like oversized coats, heels, you know, like this kind of information. I have always, every season I have a note, and I write all the ideas, and then I can cascade these ideas to my team. And I will ask them to be sure that they will buy Bermudas, they will buy leather, they will buy blue colors, and I try to make a like big picture vision of what I feel that the trend is, and then we see brand by brand what does it mean.
Okay, thank you. One more question is. Yulia asks, do you share information after analyzing sizes, colors, etc. with the brands? I hope yes. Yes,
we do. We do. We share the sales through like many times during the season, and my team is doing a mid-season analyze and send a full presentation to the brand, so we can both be aware of where we are in the season, what is selling and what is not selling. And it's also the responsibility of the brand to propose us an action plan to generate more sales or to do a reorder if we are selling too much and too fast. So we share the performance usually. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And one more question, a lot of questions today. Nice dialogue, I like it. What is the percentage of new brand buyer could afford to buy if brand fits the boutique shop, department store? Means, what is the percentage for new brands? You told us before that you always think about, do you have money, do you have space? And if you have space for new brands, what is usual percentage from total sales?
I think we're going to talk about it a bit later.
Okay.
More in detail, but it really depends. It really depends. There's no rule. I try to keep a little envelope to at least add 1 or 2 brands every season, but it means that I have to exit 1 or 2 brands because our budget and our space is not extensible. So we need to we analyze the performance, and if we see one brand is not selling anymore or is not saying the right message, or if maybe sometimes we don't have a good partnership with the person, even if we like the brand, but if the person are not nice or they're always complaining, or if it's a pain to work with people, because it's, as I was saying, and this is my perception, we are also here to create bond and to have nice relationship. And if someone is a pain and it's not selling quite well, I will prefer to exit the brand and try someone new, and to give a chance to a new brand to have representation rather than spending time on someone that is not working the right way or is not respectful of our work.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go ahead.
Okay. Global tendency on the market. What do customer wants? What do buyer looks for? So this is a very difficult question because there's not a right way to answer it. The fashion market is very versatile and fragile. It changes all the time. One brand or one product can be at the top and then 6 months later it's out. One day, I always say to people, one day you're here and one day you're out. It's like that. It's the fashion industry, and we see that at Balenciaga, we see that at Gucci, we see that everywhere. It depending on what's the global trend and how you adapt to your market. You can be hot today and out tomorrow. It's like that. This is something you need to accept, and I think it's just important to work through the constant message and DNA of your brand to be consistent in what you're doing. Customer, according to their purchase power, are different, but the general feedback will be having a trendy product with a good price quality rate. It's important for the customer to understand when they buy, when they touch the fabric, to understand why the price is this. It can be justified in many ways. It can be a hot product that initially would not cost a lot, but it's so hot right now. It's on every influencers. It's booming and buzzing in the fashion industry. And maybe the price will be too high, but the perception of the customer will be okay. But I will always recommend to link quality, pricing, and advertising. So this make your message and your brand consistent. Communication, social media, and influencers have added a new dimension, which make the products quickly obsolete. It's true that you can see sometimes you see product on every influencers, and then if they don't want to wear it anymore, it makes your product obsolete. This is something that even us cannot compete. It's the way it is right now. Brands should build, my recommendation is that brands should build a strong identity through the product, the branding, and the communication, good quality, consistent pricing, a real distribution and marketing strategy. not over distribute, don't be everywhere. So I think this you will see with Katerina in sales, but as I worked on sales for many, many years, I would advise to have the right distribution for your brand and the right marketing strategy. This will reassure the client in its choice, depending on the type of purchase you want to make. It have to be relevant and consistent through a clear vision linking product and message. Buyers want and need to buy what is selling because we want to make margin and profit. What looks good on a display, we always think about display. If you show me like only black clothes, I will be like, okay, it's nice, but how will it look on the display? Just black rail? It doesn't make sense for us. It has to be high catching. And what makes sense in the global offer, what I was telling you before, if I already have, I don't know, like too many print or flower inspired brands in a concept, I will not introduce another brand with only flowers prints, for example, because I'm sending the same message to my customer, and it's fine. Like I already have flower dresses. I want to have suits. I want to have leather. I want to have denim. I want to show something else. I want my client to be able to come to the store and to say, okay, if I want a flower dress, I have two type of brand. If I want denim, I have this, and to be able to buy and to create a full garderobe, not just one product or one style. It's important to be very complete in the offer that we are creating. A good buyer does not buy what he likes for himself, of course, but what it projects on its client based on the sales analysis and the trend. So it's what I was saying, trend and figures. Having to make a decision is being able to renounce, to have all the looks, all the brands, and take a clear position. We cannot buy everything. We love so many things. It's so frustrating. And if you're passionate with the clothes, the trend, and the people, like I am and like my team works, it's very, very difficult to having to say no and to having to make small selections because you want to take everything. You want to express the whole brand and the whole universe, but we have to take a position and we have to be sure about our own vision. And this is very important. And I always explain to my team and I try to empower them to have that clear vision of a brand and of the trend, to be able to narrow down and know what they need and what they have to buy. It's very, very important.
Okay. One more question to this topic. From Maria Don't Look. What are your three main fashion influencers that you follow? And I think that you analyze maybe with your team, if you have.
Yeah, there's a lot actually. It's difficult to just give three. I think this is definitely something we should give you a list. We should work on a list to give you. But I would say right now I'm following a lot Pernille. I don't know if you're familiar with Pernille. She's a Scandinavian girl. She's super good. And I'm following a lot Loulou de Saison. I would say that these are my two best right now, but there's many, and you should find also the one that are good for your vision and your market and the customer you want to target. So this is a list that we can definitely work on. And this also would be better for you to have advices through a marketing person. But I can work on a list when I have time to send you, so you can also see them. I think it would be more effective rather than giving you three names like that.
Okay.
You need
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tatiana. Plus add to summary. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more questions, if it's okay. From Julia, is it true that you wouldn't buy mono brand, right? Or not?
Mono brand, what does it mean?
Mono brand is the brand like with the
Only sells pants or only dresses.
one color.
It's tricky. Like you have some departments that are buying into mono product. For example, the denim, you can have a store where there is a denim department, so you will find only denim. But if I want to express a brand with a rail, I cannot just have pants. It's very difficult. I would recommend always to create a silhouette, because if you see a display with just pants, it doesn't look designer, it doesn't look nice. We want to project our customer into a global vision. So even if you just have t-shirts to sell the pants, I would just recommend to make a few. And you will be sometimes surprised, because sometimes brands, they want to push one category, but it actually sells better the other categories. It's like, there's no rules for that. But on my floor, I do not buy mono products because it has to be silhouette.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I think there's like questions for now, so we can move on and discuss the next part.
Okay, great. Creating a budget, how is the seasonal budget premium used? 70-30 more or less. What does it depend on? Budget is the buyer's biggest constraint, but it's also its necessary asset. We're always fighting internally with finance to have more budget, more money to buy more, to be able to express more brands, and to have more fun when we buy, because it's very frustrating to see our budget cut, which is the case with, for example, the COVID. It's very difficult right now, so we have some budget cuts, of course. OTBs is something you need to learn. It's open to buy. It's the name it's the name of the budget. It's the same thing. Like buyers use this OTB name. So when you see a buyer, you can ask like, what is your OTB for the season? It makes you more professional. You just don't ask what is your budget, you ask OTB. OTB is more like, it's the proper name to name a budget for a buyer. And they are established before market, so before the showroom. We know the global envelope, and either we split by brands, or if we have a multi-brand concept, we have a global envelope and then we split by brand. It depends. For big brands, we split before, because we have to analyze and we have to negotiate with the brands a lot of things with the biggest brands. But with the small brands, we just have a full envelope, and then we see how we will split, because sometimes you like better one brand or another, and we also want to be free in our spend. Financial department decides to accept or not the buyer's proposal for its perimeter. So we do not do what we want. Finance is controlling the budget. It depends on the whole financial or economical situation of the store. A very successful floor in a store in difficulty, we also have to reduce its budget to be able to absorb the global losses. So sometimes you will say, but my brand is selling well, I don't understand, the floor is doing okay, we don't understand why you're reducing your budget. But you always have to think that a store is a big entity, and we are constrained through many criteria, and we have finance always having to decide these kind of things. It is very frustrating, because buyers always feel the lack of budget. We always want more budget. They always want to buy more to represent the brands better and to be able to express their vision. OTBs are usually split 70% on pre-collection and 30% on main. Of course, the buyer always listen to the brand salesperson to orientate this piece according to the brand strategy and its production anticipation. So it means that if you are telling us, listen, we prefer you to buy 50-50 because we know that we're buying more the fabric into the main collection or this or that, we will of course follow your prediction, but then you have to stick to it. You have to stick to your production. You have to give us an advice that you are able to commit, because we will listen to you, because we want also you to be like responsible of what you are doing and of your distribution. So the usual split is 70-30, but we are always okay to understand your strategy.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe questions for now?
No question? Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay. How buyers receive a budget for young brands, budget confirmation from the finance department analyst. Well, I think I already explained this a little bit. You usually have a prospection envelope. This OTB is usually quite small and the buyer can spend it as he wants on new emerging brands. This is the way I work with my team. We have the budget for the brand that we know, and we keep a little envelope, and I say to the team, you can spend this envelope as you want, because I also want them to express their vision. I give always my opinion, but then they can do whatever they want. Finance is not controlling the micro, the detail. That will not tell me I cannot buy this brand because it's not good, because they have no idea of the trend of the brands or anything. They will see the global pictures, but we try to keep a small envelope to spend. Of course, you always have to present his buying strategy to justify his choice. I always ask my team to tell, okay, why did you choose this or this brand? Because this is sustainable and we don't have this in store, because this is sportswear and we don't have sportswear. It has to be like a real choice, not just because I like it. As a young brand, it's not recommended to impose strict limit budget. Imposing a minimum budget can make the brand lose the sale. Once the brand is having 1 or 2 performance seasons, it can then start negotiating smartly. This is my best advice. You're small, you're not present on the market. You don't ask to reach 10,000, 15,000. It's ridiculous, because we don't have sometimes this kind of budget. It's better not to have minimum, but to say, like, I don't impose the buyer a minimum, but I would recommend to have like 4 or 5 silhouettes to represent well the brand. And this is more clever to present, because if you just talking about figures while you're not present on the market, it's not the right approach, and it can be very aggressive for a buyer.
Okay, great. I think we can go to another slide.
Okay.
Because there's no questions for now. Oh, we have questions. One question from Julia from 7-Eleven. Can you decide to buy online? Is it possible for you now?
Yeah, but we do decide to buy it online, especially right now with the COVID. We are doing almost all our buying through digital, so it's possible, but we don't like it. We like to see the fabrics, we like to see the people, we like to touch the clothes. Right now we don't have the choice. It doesn't mean that I'm not adding new brands, because we are adding new brands. We still have to maintain our strategy to always be on top of the market, but in a normal condition we want to see it, and we want to see the people. You have to be present in Paris.
Okay. One more notion from me personally to our members. We just started to sell you stop this project, stop this. Yes, I understand that you're watching, speaking with a real buyer, but let's first listening, and then maybe the question is how do you work with brands? Do they sell some items online to your department? Some samples now. How do you connect now with brands?
Right now, some are sending some fabric samples, so the swatches, so we can touch the fabric. But the thing is, with the brand we know, we usually know the fabrics they are using, so we can see, they can tell us, this is the same fabric as the blouse we had last season, and we understand. So because we know the brand, we used to touch them and to buy them. For new brands, it's more difficult. Either we have swatches or the composition, and we see videos and they zoom on the fabric so we can understand better the what it is, but it's not very convenient. I really don't like it. Like like all the buyers, we don't like it.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go ahead.
Okay. Works with analytics and financial indicators when forming the budget of the next season. This is looping in on the first thing I explained about monitoring the performance and going through all the indicators that we're seeing. KPIs are essentials for a buyer to be able to monitor its perimeter's performance. Sell-through as well as retail KPIs are the ones buyer use the most. I already talked about that. It gives a clear and fast indication on a brand's performance. The brands that are also following, they have to following their own sellouts and not only their sell-in. The ones that are doing that are the smartest brands. By anticipating and proposing to the buyer an action plan on a non-selling group of products, it will show your proactivity, your professionalism, your force of proposition, and it will also support the store and find solutions. So we will see that you are willing to partner. So it's we analyze indicator, but you also have to analyze your indicator. You have to understand how you are selling in this store, in this country, or in this one. How is the customer? How is the consumption? And you have to be proactive if you want to be different and to sell better. This kind of attitude, despite a bad sell-through, can make the buyer continue buying to preserve the relationship and help the brand to grow. Like sometimes we have brands that are not selling, but other brands are super supportive and they propose action plan and they are with us. We continue to buy them until some point, because if it's not selling at all, we cannot keep the brand. But for the relationship and to maintain the efforts and support a brand, we are really willing to continue with a brand that is difficult. Figures are essentials in the buyer's job, but relationships are crucial. Same for brands, especially for the emerging one.
Super. Maybe questions for now, or we can prepare these questions for the end of the lecture.
Yeah,
Something
sure.
will be in the next slide. The answer
Okay.
in the next slide.
Okay. So yeah, this is very interesting. Actually, when I did the presentation, I thought this was good for you. I didn't thought this through before, but I feel this slide is very interesting. Stage of communication between brand and buyer, from email to signing contract. So this gives you the whole the way it's done, and I never think about that before because it's very natural for us. So there is usually a chronological way. The first contact, so the brand contact the buyer to present the collection. It can be also the brand come to a showroom, the buyer come to a showroom, and the brand is displayed, and it's like that. The buyer has spotted the brand and reached out through Instagram. So the first contact can be like many ways. It can be also a buyer talk to another buyer, because we're all friends and we all know each other, and say, oh, you see, I went to this brand and it's really good, you should check it. And this is the first contact. It can be done many ways. Second point, the brand introduction and collection walkthrough. The first introduction is really important. Few words in a minimum of time, very clear, synthetic, a quick walkthrough to make it understandable very easily by showing the key silhouette. You don't have to be like explaining everything. It has to be very focused. You have to work on your sales pitch to make it work. This is something you can work with Katerina. I did that also a million times because I worked like 8 years in sales. You have to work your speech and be very, very straight to the point with the buyer because we don't have time. I think I will talk about time later, which is crucial, but this is very, very important. And your introduction is a lot. If you're like not sure of yourself and you're like, you don't really know what you're talking about or you're hesitating, it's for us, if it's a pain for us, we'll just move on. Even if the product is good, you have to work on your selling technique. You have to be ready and you have to be quick and efficient. It's very important. Then third, the selection. If the buyer is interested, he will make a selection. Advise him, but not teach him. This is very important. We see brands that are explaining us how we should buy. This is our job. We need to listen to the brand or to the salesperson. What are the key silhouettes, how the brands work, but we have our vision. And you know, it's a very offensive for the buyer to be told like how to do it. It happened to me one time where I made like 3 or 4 selection and the designer was still not happy. And I was like, I mean, in the end, like you can do it if you want, but this is not my vision of the brand. Yes, but this is my vision and I am the designer. Yes, but I'm buying to express my own vision so I can take in consideration your advice. But this was very offensive. And to be honest, I never went back to the brand because it was like terrible. Let him have its vision by showing him what is best in your opinion, but mainly by understanding what he looks for. You need to understand and you can ask question, what are your type of client? What are they looking for? It's important that you ask questions to understand what we are targeting because you have no idea of how we do the selection and how works the store. So ask question and then try to advise smartly, but do not impose your vision. It's very important. It is not because a buyer makes a selection that he will confirm it. Be careful and do not misinterpret. Sometimes we make many selections in many brands to see in the end if it all works together, but we don't confirm immediately. We need time to step back and also analyze. If we see many brands, maybe we will prefer the brand we see just after you. And it's like that. It's not mean. It's not a bad thing. It's just we need to have the full vision. So we make selection, but we do not always confirm them right now. So do not come back to a buyer saying, oh, but you make a selection, so I thought you were buying my brand. No, we make selection and then you will know when we confirm it because you will receive another confirmation, which is then the fourth part. If the buyers confirm the selection, you can now start to celebrate a little bit because now you can feel that you're starting the collaboration. But now the buyer will start to negotiate. And this is a very important part you need to understand. First, we ask, if it's a small brand or an emerging brand, we ask for exclusivity. It's usually 1 or 2 seasons if we are reasonable. There's stores that ask for 2 years exclusivity. Honestly, I will recommend to not accept a 2 years exclusivity because it will mean that your brand will not be able to grow in the city like Paris for 2 years. I usually ask my brand to have 2 season exclusivity, which is 1 year. I think it's fair because we take a risk to invest in a brand that we don't know if it's gonna sell or not, which is new to the market. So we take this responsibility and this risk, we want to have an exclusive relationship because we take the risk, and we also have to have a unique vision and not having the same brands displayed in the store next to us. So it's important for you to give exclusivity to start when you're small, but do not accept like a very, very long-term exclusivity, because this is abusive. And a lot of buyers are abusing that. Then we will probably ask for a discount to increase our margin. It's always the same. You have to think that we want to increase our margin. If we have a discount on the price, it means that we will make more profit. A 5% discount is okay. A 10% discount is abusive. So I would recommend to give between 2 and 5. 6 is okay, but I will not go further. Some brands will ask for guarantee to make the stock risk lower. So there are 2 types of guarantee you can give: sell-through guarantee or SOR consignment, which is the next point. A sell-through guarantee is something we ask a lot when we enter a new brand, because we don't have to have the whole stock at the end of the season. We don't know if you will be selling. We don't know the potential of the brand. We're taking the risk, but we don't know. And stock for us is like our worst enemy. We don't want stock at the end of the season, because there's nothing you can do with the stock. Once the season is over, we go through sales, there's nothing we can do with the stock. And it's sitting in a warehouse, and it's super bad for environment, nature, it's costly, it's super bad. So the buyer can be really unsure of the brand potential, but wants to try it anyway. Personal like or good connection with the buyer. It will ask for stock safety. If this is your only option, it means that no other stores are buying. You can grant a 60% sell-through guarantee, which means that you will take back the differential between your sell-through and 60% at the end of the season, to grant the store a 60% no matter what. Meaning, I know it's a bit difficult to understand, but this is more sales. You will maybe you can ask also Katerina to explain this a bit further, but for example, if you, at the end of the season, if you reach 30% sell-through, which is not very good, and our agreement is 60% sell-through guarantee, it means that you will take back all the goods for us to be at 60%. So we will still keep a 40% of the stock, but you will allow us by taking back some stock to reach a 60% sell-through. So this is limiting the stock risk for us. So SOR or consignment are quite the same, but it means that you will have a full stock return if you didn't sell at the end of the season. So I would recommend to try to avoid this kind of negotiation, because it means that if you don't sell at all, you will have the whole stock. And it means that the store is not willing to take any risk, while our job is also to take risk. So I feel that a 60% sell-through guarantee is fair for a new brand if the store is asking, but try to avoid SOR or consignment. SOR means sales or return. Then we will also discuss the payment terms. Try to make it easy and to offer a net 60, which means that we can pay the good after 60 days of invoicing. Ideally, no prepayment, but I know for small brands it's difficult, because you will sometimes want a prepayment to be able to launch production. We do that, we understand that, we can support that, but if you can make net 30 or net 60 is better. And then the sales force means that some brands are asking to have sellers. If you're a small brand, you do not agree to that, because it will not be profitable for you, because salespeople are very, very expensive. And then it can be many, many more item to negotiate. So be ready, because a buyer is a negotiator. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, you will have to have the right salesperson in front of the buyer to be able to negotiate. It's very important. Then, if you succeed in negotiation and you have all your terms well negotiated, then you have the fifth point, which is a confirmation. Once everybody is in line, the buyer sends the order confirmation and the brand launch production. It can be or not a contract to make the deal. Ask for a legal advice if you receive a contract, because it can be very tricky. But it's not always concluding on a contract. It depends. Like I don't do contract when they're not big conditions. And if I have like exclusivity, discount, sales through guarantee, if I have a lot of these kind of things, I ask for a contract, so we have everything written. But if I don't ask for anything, there's no need to have a contract. It's just, we can just write an email, and it's just a partnership that we respect. Yeah, that's it for the whole thing. But this gives you really the clear vision of how it works.
Maybe we can ask Julia to ask her question herself. Julia?
Yes, I have a question about sell-through guarantee.
Yeah.
Can you explain on example, like you buy 100 items and sell 30 items?
Yes.
How much you give back?
So I buy 100 and I sell 30. Our agreement together is a 60% sell-through guarantee, which means that you need to grant me at the end of the season, no matter what, 60%. So you sell 30, so you will take back 30 to reach the 60%. So for me, even if I only sell in the store 30, I will still have in the end of the season a 60% sell-through, because you will have taken back 30. So, and if our agreement is 70% sell-through, it means that you will take back 40. If our agreement, let's be crazy, is 80, which you will not have to accept that because it's abusive. But if it's 80 and you sell 30, so you will take back 50. And depending on what you sell, you will have to meet the percentage we have negotiated together. I don't know if this is clear or not.
Yeah, it's clear, and I should buy it back like that.
Yes, you will take back the stock.
Like wholesale price, and I will buy it for this price.
It's not that you're not, it's not your buying kind of way. It means that we will return the good, and then we will have a credit for you. You will not use money again to buy the stock. It will be a credit on the next collection. But of course, at the end, if we stop the collaboration, you will have to reimburse, but it will be at the end. You're not buying back. You're just returning and issuing a credit note.
Okay, thank you.
But anyway, as I understand, you still work with this stock after the end of the season, before the end of the season. Yes, 40% you still on sales. In this case,
the rest will be on sales. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Now it's much clearer understanding.
Yeah, I know this is a bit tricky, but you can also discuss with Katerina for the sales, because she's gonna be used to that. But this is something you need to understand properly.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a little question? If you give back some percentage of clothes, so it means that you will work with us next season. So it could be for us good chance to work on next season.
Yes, because if you give us some conditions, of course we want to support you. Of course, maybe if we didn't sell anything, it's not a good sign. But if we sell something, even if it's not the first season, it cannot be a good performance because it's the first season. So this will help us to take less risk and to have more money to invest the next season. Because if we have the whole stock sitting in the warehouse, my budget for you will be decreased, obviously. But if you take back some stock, I will have a bigger budget to buy into the coming season.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
yes.
you.
And just one more question about communication from Maria from Brandon Plug. Maria asks, which way better to choose in communication with the buyer, official or friendly, and personal for you, which way you prefer?
I feel that if you send an email, it has to be quite official. I think it has to reflect also your brand and your identity. An email should be official. It has always to be straight to the point. But then when you see the buyers, you have to be respectful. It really depends on the people. I think that you need to be a bit psychological and understand who you have in front of you. Some buyers are very, thinking they're God and they know everything, and they're like, but I don't want to talk with you. I want this and that. And they're very diva. This is absolutely not my own approach, and my team is not like that. We're like human being, meeting people and connecting and discussing. So I like to have like a cool approach, very respectful on both sides. I respect the buyers and the sales team, and I like people to respect us and our vision. So it's a respectful contact. But I like it also to be cool and down to earth. And usually, like many people, we have the same age, so like we just discuss and connecting. I like to have a good connection. I have many designers or people that I have on my personal phone, and we just discuss, and then it creates something closer, and I think it's more it's nicer. But you can have some buyer that are really not in this spirit, so you need to evaluate how is the person. Like always like grant well the person, propose a drink, sit them, and you see like if they're like, no, I don't have time, I don't want to, if they're very in a rush, you can feel that they don't want to interact a lot with you. But if they are sitting, having a tea, discussing, and they're like, so where are you coming from? Explain me your brand. What is it? It's great. And you feel they're positive. You can be cooler and you can just chat like a normal person. Just try to feel it like you feel in your life, like when you meet someone or when you meet a friend, and you feel that people, when you meet a guy and you feel the guy is like, no, I don't want to talk to you. And that it's the same. I feel it's just human contact. But this is really my approach. But you can feel the people.
Thank you for the advance. So there's no questions for this part. Maybe we can move on.
Okay. Package materials which are needed for work with buyers. So buyers need a very synthetic tool. We're always running out of time. It's something you need to understand. We don't want to be rude. We just need to be quick. So ideally, a line sheet with style code, pictures, colors, pricing, sizing grid, shipping window, markup, maybe a lookbook aside to understand the look. Basta.
Great. Maybe somebody have questions to specific point of this list. Everything is clear for you?
Okay, good.
Be shy.
Good, but we can come back later.
We still will have a question about trademarks. Do we need to have, Anastasia asks, do we need to have a registered trademark in Europe to be presented in stores? Because I hope everybody has it in Ukraine.
No, you need to have the euro pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, euro pricing, wholesale and retail.
It's about the trademark for the brand. The name of brand should it be registered as a trademark in European territory?
Sorry, I don't know.
Okay. We will ask.
I'm not sure you need that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, it is special law question. If you want, we can ask our lawyer about it and answer later on.
Yeah, yeah, maybe better. I
can note it for ourselves, okay?
But I don't think so, because we're buying brands from everywhere and they're not registered in Europe. I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on.
To the next.
So I think this we removed it from the presentation. Difficulties in buyers' work with young brands. Young brands are usually full of energy and they're very motivated to present their collection to the buyers, which is good. This is a good attitude to have. The buyers are just tired and they don't have time. This is basic thing you need to understand, because it's a time where we're running everywhere and we're having so many information and seeing so many brands. So it's really confusing for us. If you want to make a good impression to a buyer, you need to understand its journey. A lot of brands are soliciting the buyer. He runs from one showroom to another all day. He does, and usually with heels and, you know, like an outfit that is not comfortable, with a bag and carrying a lot of things, and the subway is not working, and there's the car strike in Paris. So it's very tiring. He does prospection while he buys his big brands. So it takes time to buy the big brands. We need to be seated to understand the brand, to put a lot of quantities, a lot of money. It's risky, it's a big job. And in the same time, we need to see all the little brands and understand what is going on the market. So it's really overwhelming. He has events, fashion show, and party to attend. So sometimes I hate partying. Honestly, I hate it, especially during Fashion Week. I prefer to go home, eat a soup and have a herbal tea and go to bed after like doing all my emails. But sometimes you have to go to an event because it's like that, and you have to drink champagne, and you have to also, it's good to do that like outside Fashion Week, but during Fashion Week, it's just too many things to handle and you're tired and you don't want to do that, but you have to. Some buyers, they love to do it, but I don't. So you need to understand that in the morning, sometimes we're like, what is going on? Like, don't talk too much, like just like, let's start slow and let's be very efficient. So you need to understand that he sees a lot of things and sometimes it can be confused or overwhelmed. This is important for you to understand. Timing is key for buyers. You need to be quick, not speed, but clear, synthetic, and impactful. Always remember to thank a buyer for his time. Propose him healthy drinks and food because he rarely has time to eat during the fashion campaign, which is true. Make him comfortable even for 15 minutes walkthrough. He usually carries his computer and files everywhere. So always ask, do you want to put your stuff here? Do you want a drink? And, you know, like always make him comfortable and feeling, you know, welcome. Do your best, but do not do too much to make it quick, thoughtful, and meaningful. Then the difficulty when the brand is bought can be the communication with bad salesperson. Usually it happens with small brands that they're very small and they don't have the money or the power to have a good person to communicate. And it can be very difficult to have someone in front of you that is not understanding the business and is not reactive. Someone that is not answering email and you have to ask many times, what are the pricing? What are the colors? Can you send me these for the order confirmation? And we need to have people that are responding, that are reactive, and we need to be always like fast and effective. Pick a good team or ask for agents' advice. Your team is everything. You can have the best product if you have bad presentation, bad salespeople, or if you're not responding, we don't have time to deal with you. Like it's like that. It has to be good. Shipment delays also can be a very tricky issue because we know that a young production it can be difficult for the delays, but if you give a shipping window, try to stick to it, because if you're late, it's gonna affect the season a lot, and also for you in terms of sales. So then we have a hole in the selection because we have an empty rail, which is not nice. and then you will have bad sales, and so you will have a bad OTB next season, and so on and so on. So if you start bad with the shipment, it's very difficult to catch up later.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the participants? No one question for now. Guys, you can just turn on your microphone and say something by your voice. Maybe it will be more quick than texting. But if we have no questions for now, yeah, I think we can move to the next slide.
Okay.
Can I ask? Sorry, just one question. Normally, for the new brands, which terms you're given? Like, for example, you agree on which terms? From the time that you made an agreement, you signed the contract. Then how? What is the window that you give? What is the gap till we
shipping window? You mean?
Shipping window, yes. Sorry.
There's usually a calendar, all the brands that are following, so it depends the season. You should stick to the proper calendar of the window, and it's usually 6 months later, and you give a start and a end date always. And all the brands are giving quite the same, like 1 week or 2 difference, but you should check. I think you can find the right calendar. And I think Katerina also from the sales, she can give you like this, but it's for all the brands the same usually.
All right, thank you.
I have a calendar in mind, but this is something you can find easily, I think, on internet or something like that. Like we can, I think Maria or Tatiana can check, or Katerina can give you the thing. I can also find one when I have time, but it's usually the same for everybody, but just try to commit to it.
The question is always about fabrics. I want to add, the question is about fabrics, because in Ukraine we are not producing designing fabrics. That's why we need to buy it, and it takes a lot of time, and a lot of difficulties is due to this reason.
Of course.
That's why, first of all, trying to make a new collection, need to think about regular fabric collection and good contract with a fabric producer. It is a crucial question, especially for export.
I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's move on.
Okay, so brands are seen by the buyer how to encourage the positive decision. So here I have recapped like all the main things that I've just said. There is no magical recipe. Here's the main points to remember. Own your brand, concept, and collection. Work your speech. Welcome and treat well. Be efficient in your walkthrough. Develop clear tools. Follow up by email. Don't push too much. Give some commercial terms. Communicate on your brand. Work on influencers and gifting. Follow your performance and be proactive to improve your sellout. I think this is like a sum up of everything I've said for more than 1 hour. I can tell you more. Everything is there.
Okay, great. I think now we can have some session for the questions and answering. And after that, we can move on to homework, because our brands received this work list from you. And I know that they have some questions, and discuss the homework. But after that, before that, maybe somebody have the questions connected to the first part of a lecture before the homework. So just ask. Or you can say, no, I have no questions, and let's move to the homework.
Can I ask one question from organizational team. The question is, all the time our designers and brands, they ask New Fashion Zone if they need to be a part of some showrooms in Paris. Can you give us a piece of advice? What showrooms are best of all in Paris for us? You know, this, our brands, you saw our video, because for us it's always a question. We understand that they want to sell their services to us, but we don't know how to choose right showroom.
It really depends on the positioning of the brand. You have like, you know, Who's Next, you have like a Rainbow Wave, you have Tomorrow showroom, you have Pepper Mash Tiger, and one of the best, but it's difficult to access, is showroom 247.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very useful for us.
Okay, great. Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to ask about work on influencers and gifting. So it should be influencers from Paris, or it just
it can be from all over the world, but it has to be like good influencers with a lot of followers to have a good reach. It can be from all over the world, but of course, like, for example, I don't know a lot of Ukrainian influencers. I don't know if I know, and maybe one or two, but try to take the internationals that are good and well known everywhere.
And we could like print pictures in our stuff of these influencers, and it will help to buy collection. If we will have in our showroom, like if we are in showroom presenting collection to you, and we will have some pictures of influencers who have our clothes in this.
You don't need to have it in the showroom, it's just you have it on your Instagram and they are communicating on their Instagram. You don't have to print, like you can say, oh, you see this person will wear this top, so you can explain. You don't have to, you can print it, but it's not the fact of having it in showroom, it's just the fact of communicating in general.
Mm-hmm. But visually, it will help to understand that we communicate with influencers, right?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's very important for us. We will think together with our team in New Fashion Zone how to reach these influencers worldwide.
Yes.
It will be our next challenge for next project.
This is a big job. This is not my job and my expertise. The next step will be to understand how to communicate and how to push.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So if nobody have questions for now, we can move to homework, because some questions need to be here.
Okay, so it's a quick homework. Quick, I don't know if it's quick for you, but I try to do something that is really helpful for you also to work on, just not having a homework to do homework, which doesn't mean anything. But this is for you to try to anticipate how you will communicate with the buyer. So I'm a buyer, and I want, sorry, I make a mistake in writing, and I want to quickly understand your brand. Please answer the below in no more than 5 words. How do you? What is the message behind the product? Who is your target? What is your price range? Which fabrics do you use the most? What is your brand mix target? What is your communication strategy? What are your targeted store distributors? So not more than 5 words for each thing. This, why am I doing this? It's first to understand your brand, and then when we have a personal consultation, it's easy for me to understand, because sometimes on the video it was not clear. And then it's also for you to extract the essence of your work and to put it on paper, to have your clear strategy just listed. So this will help you, and then we can also start from there to build your strategy and build your speech for the brand, for the buyers.
Great, and we have the first question about what is mix target, brand mix target, and can you explain how it represents?
It's the brand environment. Among which brands do you want to be seated? Do you want to be next to Chanel, Dior, and Celine and Saint Laurent? You have to be like, or do you want to be next to Isabel Marant, Acne, or do you want to be next to Zara, Mango? Like, what is your brand mix target? With who, with which brand do you want to be seated? Because you need to know what is your positioning in terms of pricing and image. Because if you're selling 10 euros t-shirts, you cannot be seated next to Chanel. Let's make it like reasonable. You have to know your positioning and to know where you want to be distributed to, because the buyer will say, so where do you see yourself? Next to which brand do you want to be displayed? And if you have no idea, it doesn't make sense. You have to say, I want to be next to Jacquemus, Zimmermann, Saxpot, and Kate, for example, or I want to be next to Zara, Mango, and I don't know. And you know, this kind of things. You need to know the brands because you need to know the market also. We know the market, but you need to know it a little bit also, and especially the one where you want to compete. Because to enter a market, you need to know what are your competitors. And it's very, very important for you to be next to your right competitors. This you will go through also with Katerina, I think, from sales, but I know this very well from both sides of my jobs. You need to understand where you are seated, and you need to be seated well with your competitors, because your client in his journey in the store will have to be consistent. If you want to be bought by the final client, you need to be at the right location.
Our brands already have tasks from Katerina to define the main competitor.
Yeah. This is the same thing.
So great. We are in one position.
Yeah. Good.
All of the mentors, super good.
Yeah.
And one more questions. Okay, maybe Julie, can you say your questions like about Xenia Schneider and so on? I don't know what you want to say by questions.
If I will say that I want to be in brand mix next to Xenia Schneider, will you understand, or
no?
You don't know?
No. It has to be brands that we are carrying.
Carrying in your shop?
Yeah, or like, yeah, in our shop, or brands that are well known from everybody.
How to know this list of your brands in your shop?
You have to have a good vision of the market. Like, if you want to enter in a store, you need to know the store. You need to have a good salesperson who knows the store, who visits the store. Online to have an idea. Sometimes you can find some information online, but you need to have a proper strategy for your distribution. And this, I'm sure Katerina told you, but to understand the distribution, you need to visit, you need to know the store. If you talk to me about brand that I don't know, I would be like, I have no idea. Like, do you know my store? No, I don't know your store. So why do you want to be in my store if you don't know it? It's really basic. If you think about it this way, it's very basic.
Great. I have one more questions to make it clear about the communication strategy. How our brands can describe in a few words communication strategy, because sometimes it's like a big list of some tasks and
yeah, it's just like key information. For example, like first Instagram to gifting, third I don't know, like publicity, third how do we say you know, when you stick some big panels in the subway, for example, or I don't know, just having, I say 5 words, but you can have like a little bit more to explain. Just I don't want to read like full paragraph that are not straight to the point. Just, you know, like 5 key ideas of your communication. Is it digital? Is it a paper, magazine? Is it focus on Paris? It can be many things. Like you can write gifting Paris influencers, digital, or you can gift magazine, I don't know, Eastern Europe, or like just for me to understand in 5 words where you're going and how you're going to communicate, to see if it will reach my store target.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell me magazine Russia, I'm sure it's good for the Russian market, but for me, it doesn't make any sense. But if you tell me Asia, for example, for me, it's interesting because I have a lot of Asian customers, you see? So that's why we need to understand the strategy.
Mm-hmm. Super great, thank you very much. And one more questions. What Ukrainian brands do you always work with? Or there are any brands from Ukraine that you work with?
I don't. I start working with a Georgian brand. It's Alexander Aka something, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's a designer of materials, you know, the brand. So we don't, I personally don't work with Ukrainian brands right now. Maybe somebody else in the store, but I don't see it. No, I work with many brands from many countries like Korea, Scandinavia. We try to have brands from everywhere, and this is part of our strategy to be very inclusive in terms of origins, and have like not only like French, Italians, American brands. We have Australians. We have a lot of like different nationality, but I don't think I've seen in showroom many Ukrainian brands actually. So which is good in a way, because it means that you have a lot of room and that your market is not represented very well in Europe, and that there's space for you to enter.
Oh, sounds very good. Thank you for this.
Let's see opportunities.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions?
No questions?
Okay, so I hope it's clear.
Yes. Thank you very much. Everything is clear. A lot of information to think about.
Yeah.
List of showrooms. Julie, you can listen one more. You can listen one more to records, and you will find 4 names of showrooms here.
Yeah, I can also send by email, Tatiana, if you need like more. After you can just ask me if you didn't catch the name properly. I can send you by email.
Please do it, because it's very important also for our social media. And a lot of designers ask.
Yeah, send me everything you did not catch up, and I can I'll answer you by email.